Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of No Reserve, Hagerty's podcast about the enthusiast car market. We're here to help you make sense of the market, whether you're buying, selling, or just watching. Now, this week, the deals are here. We highlight several recent bargains, including a Dodge Stealth, BMW Z3, and a very well-bought Ferrari Dino. We're also looking forward to several cars that are currently for sale, including two wagons, a Mercedes and a Buick, a squeaky clean Mazda RX-8, and a Bugeye Sprite race car. It is definitely buying season. I'm Larry Webster, editor of Hagerty Media, and I'm joined by Dave Kinney, publisher of the Hagerty Price Guide. Now, between the two of us, we've got decades of experience buying, selling, and driving the cars we love. Plus, we don't just guess at the values. We're backed by the data of the Hagerty Valuation tools. All right, let's get into it. It's Wednesday, September 20th. We are almost to change over to fall. You know, I always have mixed feelings about this. I love summer, but fall's a nice time to drive. But something big happened. Jimmy Buffett passed, and you pitched a piece to Hagerty Media. And I'd really like you to explain to the audience what you wanted to talk about.
All right. Well, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity, Larry. So I'm a pre-Parrot Head Jimmy Buffett fan. I've been a fan for a long time, and he died on Friday before Labor Day, and I woke up that morning and started thinking about Jimmy Buffett, thinking about the times that he and I crossed each other's paths, even though I never met him. But it was all over automobiles. It was friends of mine who were in the car business who had bought and sold cars from Jimmy Buffett, and then an auction that I went to where one of his cars was for sale. I kind of felt like it was my duty to go ahead and raise my hand to do this story for Hagerty, and it's been very well received by people. Buffett was a car guy, but not you would think a multimillionaire / billionaire type of car guy. He liked fun stuff. So he had a Falcon Sprint convertible. He had a Nash Metropolitan. And a friend of mine who actually sold him the Nash Metropolitan didn't realize that it showed up in one of his songs.
Those are weird cars. I mean,
yeah, I know.
I guess
But
this his was painted like a pastel green.
yeah,
I can
but if
see
now you keep in mind that color is the same color that's on his custom yacht that he had made, and it's not some 10,000-foot one. It's a fun boat that he had commissioned that he used for the last few years. So anyhow, it's kind of a recurring theme of his color. But if you lived in Key West, a Nash Metropolitan actually makes sense because you're not going to run into any interstate traffic or anything like that. It's just a fun convertible cruiser, as is a Ford Falcon. So it was really my honor to write this story and to talk to some of the people who had dealt with him and met with him. Not one person had a bad thing to say. They all said that if you knew his music, you knew him. And it was a feel-good thing for me. I think a lot of people got a lot of fun out of knowing that Jimmy Buffett was just like the rest of us, a car guy.
Everybody's a car person, and they touch people in different ways. And he was smart enough to understand that this is a hobby to enjoy, not to fuss over. And it sounds like that's what he was doing. Is that fair?
I couldn't agree more.
And, it's a good segue. You had a theme for this week that I really appreciate you bringing up. And, Jimmy Buffett's cars were kind of regular, everyday cars. And then a lot of the material we're seeing on Hagerty Media sort of follows that theme. And this idea of, really everyday cars. You brought up the point that we're in a bit of a lull in the auction season, so we're not seeing big $1 million sales, right?
Absolutely. This is the time where the regular car guy gets to shine, as far as I'm concerned. And when I'm talking regular car guys, I'm talking about some cars that we're going to talk about here. That we've got a 12-year-old who saved his money to buy an MGB at 16. And this is a story on Hagerty Media that it's up there right now. That's about the passion in the hobby, and it's not about the money. And everybody, after a while you go, it's just millionaires chasing this and billionaires chasing that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not at all. They might make the headlines, but so we have a couple stories here that are fun reads for people who might have been in the same situation. I mean, I remember, just dreaming about owning my first car when I was 12 years old. And, that passion, it drives all of us. I'm I don't know how many times 12 years old right now, and I've got a birthday coming up here too. So, but you never forget it.
Yeah, this guy, Peter Kosmides, I mean, what an interesting person. And, this is one of those folks you meet through the car world. And like you said, he's at 12, decided he wants an MG. And, at 12, has the fortitude and the stick-to-itiveness to save up for 4 years. And he buys a new MGB. And he still has it. I mean, amazing. That car, would you say, did it change his life, Dave?
Well, that's what he says. I mean,
Yeah.
it put him on a trajectory towards, towards having cars and doing cars. He says the MG shaped my life as far as my hobby, my friends, and even my vocation. He had a British car restoration business, that he retired from just a few years ago. So, I mean, this is all, we forget this stuff at our peril, is what I say. So, what we need to do instead of forget it is to celebrate it, don't you think?
Yeah, well, you bring up a good point because on our YouTube channel, there is a story of the Snowball dirt track car that Hagerty restored. It took 4 years and they brought it back to the family. And Tom Cotter, who I know you know well, the Barn Find Hunter, said, these automobiles are a great excuse to tell human interest stories, which is sort of what this MGB was. And then the other one you pointed out is also on Hagerty Media. So you can just go to Hagerty.com and you could see this stuff. This was a cool thing, this Jeep. Did you know this Jeep pickup existed?
I had actually seen a couple of.
Oh, Dave, you've seen everything. Is there anything? Can I surprise you with anything anymore?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. That check for $1 million, that would totally surprise me, and it would also shut me up for probably the rest of my life. So if you really want to know, no, but there's I my passion is weird cars. You know that I love weird cars.
All right.
Anybody who's owned a Brubaker box, I generally win the bet at the bar about who's owned the weirdest car.
Fair enough.
But anyhow, this isn't all that weird. It just happened to be a Jeep that was a pickup truck. It was a kind of a, one of these extended cab type of Jeeps.
Yeah, an early one.
And 77 J10 extended cab. But I've seen a Jeep pickup, but I've never seen an extended cab before. I will say.
Oh,
So,
okay. So we did teach you something.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That good.
So,
I feel a little better.
anyhow, this guy bought the thing new, and his grandkids restored it. What a great family story. I mean, it's one of those things that, hanging around cars long enough, you do meet some of these people who have that kind of passion. And here's what it is, and that's a family passion. So, we need to celebrate this even more.
Yeah, it's super fun. They had something special. They had an early extended cab pickup, which back in the 70s weren't a thing. They were all like, really tight beds. Had the little jump seats. And as we know, the Jeep pickup community is passionate. Might be small, but man, they're pretty passionate people. So they were all excited to see it exist. And so super fun on HagertyMedia.com. Let's move on to our opening bid segment, Dave. This is where we talk about cars that have sold. And you've highlighted we're going to stay on the pickup for a second. It's a 1999 Ford Ranger XLT 4x4. And tell us what caught your eye about this one.
Hey, this was on Cars and Bids. And, we've talked about your Toyota pickup before. This was, obviously the competitor. This is a 4x4. It's a V6 four-wheel drive, obviously. Again, accident-free car report. I'm not going to say the car didn't have any rust because they've made mention of some surface rust at the very least.
Oh, boy.
But at the kind of money this sold for, $8,500, at $8,500, the challenge would be to find anything that runs these days for $8,500.
Yeah.
Can I pull some appraiser BS on you here right now?
That's why you're here.
All right. So pickup trucks have what we call value in use. Now, cars have value in place, but value in use. So what does that mean? Just what you think it might mean. When you have a pickup truck, number one, you have more friends because they know they can borrow your pickup truck, or they can borrow you in the pickup truck to move that bed or to do whatever.
Sure.
So pickup trucks, and check me on this now. You'll never find a pickup truck going for $500. They kind of bottom out at $1,500 because if you can get it across the street, it's worth it to somebody if they have it for their, for their yard truck in their landscape business or whatever. where you might find an old Honda that's, rusted out all the way through or something for $500. The low price, I think, on a giveaway pickup truck is three times that. So, but anyhow, this has a lot of use left in it. It's 97,000 miles, which is hardly all worn out. It's got some good things and some bad things about it. It's certainly not a show truck, but for 9,500, let's sell. Or I'm sorry, 8,500.
Yeah,
let's celebrate.
The big difference, I had a 92 Toyota pickup, and it's just the reliability problem. That V6 motor was never awesome engine. It's got the automatic transmission. I don't know if they were good or not, but yeah, I get it. Nice, cheap truck for $8,500 looks pretty solid. So there's still stuff out there to be found. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? You think the person who bought this is like an enthusiast type, or do you think they're just like, I just want a cheap pickup?
I was thinking about this. It's funny you asked that.
Yeah.
Remember when we used to call things chick magnets, and we now call them guy magnets and chick magnets? If you were a younger lady or a younger man, single, maybe in your 20s, I can't imagine a better car to roll up to a party in than this thing. It says a lot about who you are. You're not putting on airs in this thing. You're just an honest individual. So I'm going to call this a babe magnet to make it, either sex or whatever. If you want to look better, drive this thing.
Where were you when I was single? I could have used this advice, Dave. I really could have. But
I had a Mazda rotary power pickup truck back when I was single. So I did realize the power of that, even though nobody knew what a rotary power pickup truck was back then.
I got it. Okay, the next one, we're totally switching gears from a utilitarian pickup to a really pricey, exciting, beautiful Italian sports car. It's a 1971 Ferrari Dino 246 GT. It sold for $356,000 on Bring a Trailer. This was like a week ago. I think I know why you were interested in this sale, but why don't you tell us?
Okay, so everybody's talking about how, Dinos are on the rocket sled to Mars. They're going to be worth all this money. I mean, all this money.
There is bull market car. We know it, right? You picked one. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, this thing had 28,000 views on Bring a Trailer. This is the M series, an early one, a 1971 Dino. It's a GT, which means it's a coupe, not a GTS, which is the Spider. It's a color change car. It's got an okay interior. This is no, primo car in the most beautiful color ever with, it was,
Black's not bad.
The doors were hung by Enzo himself, all that sort of stuff that goes along with it. This is not that car. We have these cars in the price guide currently for $640,000.
Yeah.
Down to $360,000. And this car slipped in below our floor price by $4,000. So it's a couple fours there. It's below our floor for $4,000. Now, this was like I said, not a show car. Everybody had comments on it and Bring a Trailer like they always do. The interior is wrong. Let's put it that way. There's got a lot
and not pretty.
It's not pretty. No, it's not. But, hey, if you're looking for a Dino and you want to have one, this was your chance to get in at the low side. It's better than a 4, so let's say it was well bought. How's that?
So, it's better than a number 4 condition. So this suggests, some of the excitement about the Dino is rightly cooled off. I mean, these are beautiful cars, but they're V6 powered. They're small and cramped and, all the reasons. This one I thought was interesting, too, that it was so cheap because it's a hardtop. And I prefer those better. Was there something that you see, let's put on your appraiser expertise eye. Was the paint like, it's a bad paint job? Was there, the interior, I get it. It's ugly, but that's a $10,000 fix. Like anything else jumped out at you as like, yeah, there's some big problems in this thing?
Well, one of the lessons I wanted to get to, and of course we've been talking about this so long, it's been 10 years now that we've been talking about this, that the really, really nice cars that are ready to go bring all the money. And the cars with the, but it needs and you could probably do this to it, are not bringing the money. Why is that? Because this is a point and shoot time of everybody's life. They want to just point at it, click the button, shoot, and buy it. They don't want a car that they're going to have to do the interior on later or do the paint on or whatever. So I think there's an opportunity here for those that think that the Dino market is going to stay as strong as it was. I'm not convinced.
They made a lot of them, right? Do you have a sense of how many 246 GTs are out there?
I don't know, but I do know that the Daytona, which was made at the same time,
Yeah.
anybody my age is shaking their head that the Daytona is worth less than the
Yeah.
Dino. Let's just put it
V12 stick, it's car,
that.
cannonball run car. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that you're at least having my back here on this because I really don't get it. I love the fact that the Dino appeals to a younger buyer. I love the fact that people are interested in it. I love the fact that it has great crossover with the 911 crowd, and all those things are great. But more money than a Daytona, I'm never going to get that.
Okay, Dave, I'm going to put in a personal plug. This is what I don't understand. I get it. These Dinos are gorgeous. It was the first to wear the Dino name, which, as we know, was Enzo's son, who passed away tragically early. This was not a thrown away sub brand. Enzo cherished this name and gave it on a car that he thought was worthy. The next car, the one I have, is a 308 GT4. That has a Ferrari V8. This Dino that sold, that V6 is shared with Fiat, right? So it's not even a special Ferrari engine. They only made 1,700 of the GT4s, and they're like one of the cheapest Ferraris you can buy. And I think it all comes down to just the styling, right?
Yeah, I think look, not how mean can I be to your
Go for it. Go for it. I love it, man. The more you hate you bring on, I just feed off it, Dave.
okay,
Go for
one's
it.
square and one is actually styled. Okay, so let's just say it that way. So one still has the box that it came in, and one has interesting styling. So just kidding. I like the
I
GT4.
don't care. It doesn't bother me. I love it.
But what an entry point into owning a Ferrari. I think your point's well taken. I would rather have your car than a Mondial, to be real honest with you. So, that's why they make different cars, and that's why different things appeal to different people. There's no right, there's no wrong. They're
Well,
just
this is going to
that's
be
good stuff,
this.
isn't it?
I would think this sale, since you do the Hagerty price guide, right? You guys are always looking at the values you have in there. Are they right? Are they wrong? They need adjustment. This will sort of kind of get your radar up that maybe we should be watching the Dino market, right?
Oh yeah, well we
Yeah.
have been constantly watching the market, but this was on Bring a Trailer, which is a platform that, like I said,
Influence it. Yeah.
28,000 views on this thing. I think there were like 4,000 watches or something like that.
That's a
People,
lot, right?
yeah, that's a lot, and so I think that the market has spoken, and it said, you know what, on a I'm not going to damn this car by calling it mediocre, but on a less than perfect car, this is what people are willing to pay right now, and that's where we start. That's where we glean this information and we turn it into numbers. So you can expect some movement this October 1st when the new price guide comes out.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those. The Hagerty Bull Market is something we put together every year. We're actually going to go shoot the 24 edition this weekend. Super secret list. I know you know it, Dave. You can't tell anybody. We'll have to. That'd be bad if you did. But anyway,
Well, it's in my safe that I bought from Geraldo Rivera once he finished the Al Capone thing. So it's locked in there now.
so the Dino 246 was on it 2 years ago,
Oh,
and
man, did it go on a rocket sled since then?
so we were right.
Yep.
But now it may be correcting again, perhaps.
Hey, listen, that happens, Larry. We could talk about this for the rest of the day. That happens all the time. Somebody sells a name your product,
Yeah.
and everybody goes crazy and says, wait a minute, I got one of those in the back of the shop. Maybe it's time to restore it. So everybody goes out and restores it. A year and a half later, they all come on the market at the same time. And guess what? There were 30 people who wanted them, not 300, but right now there's 150 of them on the market. So,
Well,
supply
all right.
and demand again.
Totally. Thanks for the background. The next car, this is really interesting. I consider you, Dave, a man of champagne taste, but this edition, you are really bringing the bargains. Tell us about this car.
Yeah, I love this. It's a BMW Z3 Roadster, a 1.9 liter early one, 1998. It sold on Cars and Bids for $6,600. And I mean, there is nothing really wrong with this thing. It didn't have an automatic. It had
Except that
three
it's a
pedals.
Z3.
Pardon me?
Except that it's a Z3.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Keep
You know,
going. I'm sorry. That was so rude, Dave. Keep going. I'm sorry.
79,000 miles, so not hateful miles, right?
Yeah.
And the price guide. You want to know the price guide values? Are you ready, sir?
That's why you're here. What do you got?
Number one value on this car is 32,400. A number four value is 8,300. This sold for $2,000 less. than our number 4 value.
Yeah, somebody got a bargain is what you're saying.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Again, Cars and Bits, big, very successful website. They do this stuff all the time. This one, I think, is a car that got away. Maybe I should have called you when I saw this because this is one we could have split for 3,300 each.
I couldn't do it. I'm glad you didn't call me. I drove these cars
Oh,
extensively.
you're a hater. You're a
Y
hater.
I am. You remember when these came out, right? Because they were in the James Bond movie. They're
Oh yeah,
gorgeous. The styling is like, wow. Okay, the Miata is awesome to drive, but it really had an unfortunate reputation as yeah, it just didn't feel very like a masculine car. And here comes this BMW Roadster that fixed all that. Except, I mean, they missed all the driving dynamics. That motor is just it is a snail. And I just, they don't handle well. The motor has no energy to it. I mean, they got a lot better when they put the straight six in it. But these early ones with the 4-cylinder, there is some to like about them, but just from the driving dynamics, I just was never a fan.
Wow. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you like that? I mean,
Well,
man.
the belt line's low. It is a nice car to cruise in. It is quite nice quality BMW wise, but I just they left me totally cold.
Yeah, I think that, you could just drive around Ann Arbor in this and kind of showboat. I think the car's for you, but I guess you're wrong again.
I still have I have a 89 no, sorry, 91 Miata, and I just took it out on Saturday night. I haven't been out in it forever. Just took a ride in the country. It's got 105,000 miles on it. The paint's all sun faded. I mean, that car is so brilliant. I mean, it is. My son, even my son says he feels happier when he gets out of it than he does when he gets in it. And he's only
Oh, that's your
20, Dave.
driving. That's why he's happy to get out of it.
Okay,
No,
touche.
look, between a $6,600 Mazda Miata and this car for 6,600, I would go for the Miata myself, except for one thing. I
What?
can't fit the Miata. I'm too big for it.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I mean, this would be. It's not a Miata. It's not as fun as Miata. I mean, I agree with you on so many points on this car, but
Yeah.
it is a fun car for somebody who just wants a roadster to drive in the summertime.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, we're
never gonna win the the stoplight Grand Prix on this, but that's okay.
Okay, the next car, I'm so bummed what it went for. And thanks for putting this on the list, Dave. It was a 1968 Ford Mustang Fastback, but it's been restored to a really, really high level. Maybe you call it a Bullet tribute car. In the Highland green paint and all that stuff from the movie Bullet. It sold for $143,000. Dave, if I could start off, there's nothing to not like about this thing. The Bullet styling, I just thought was super cool, and I like the fastback tail. I guess to me, somebody bought a great car for way less than it would cost to build it. Is that what you think?
Oh man, this car has the Dynacorn Repro body on it. Okay,
Is that
so
good or bad?
it's a fresh body. Look, I mean, if you're going to do a Bullet, you don't have to worry about the originality anymore. So I'm going to call it good.
Okay.
That it's not rusty somewhere where it's hidden or something like that. So that's good. This car was done in England.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was, somebody spent a ton of pounds on it before somebody else spent a ton of dollars on it, I guess. It's a Tremec 5-speed manual. It's just the way you want it. It's Highland green. It's sold in Emeryville, which is, of course, across from San Francisco. So it's got the cred of being a hometown Bullet, let's say that.
Yeah.
I think this thing was cheap, and you can't find a good Ford Mustang Fastback right now, 66, 67, I'm sorry, 67, 68, 69. They're impossible to find, especially 7 and 8. And I mean, they're just not out there anymore. They made thousands and thousands of them, but I don't know what happened to them. They've become Bullets. They've become Eleanors. They're sitting in somebody's garage somewhere. Underneath this car looks as good as as on top. You can in the listing they show the body in white. The new fresh body. $200,000 worth of work done between 2018 and 2023. So somebody got a bargain on a done car, and I think that's great.
I feel all the pangs of like want and desire with this one. I really do. I don't know why. Is it the movie? What is it? What am I missing here? I guess some of the times the tribute cars. I'm a big fan of tribute cars. I don't want the real one. The real one's what, $5 million, and it's all rusty.
Yeah.
So I mean, and this thing has air conditioning. I mean, why
Yeah,
wouldn't you want it? Yeah,
yeah, and the Tremec. I mean, a 5-speed. Come
five
on now.
speed. Yeah, yeah. I had one that a friend of Colin Comer's built. I had a '65 Mustang, and it had been made up sort of resto modded to be like a Shelby Mustang, and it had this cracker of a motor. It had like 450 horsepower, and it was so cool. It really was, but you just couldn't use it, or at least I couldn't. Like, it's just like go to Cars and Coffee and back, and I couldn't justify keeping it. But this one looks like you could actually use it and go places and enjoy it.
Yeah, and there's a really good chance, if you're in a major city and you put it out there that you're going to get this car used in a commercial, or maybe a photo shoot or something like that, because it's such an iconic car. If you had some great new men's cologne or something like that, you'd want to have that good looking guy in front of a Bullet, wouldn't you? So yeah, I think there's opportunities to monetize this car, so that's a good one too.
And let's go to the last one in our opening bid segment. And this car got a really strong price, I thought. It was a 1995 Dodge Stealth RT Turbo that sold for just under $22,000 on the Hagerty.com marketplace. I thought this was a crazy big, strong sale. Did you agree?
That's why I put it here. I thought it was a really good thing to see, because I think this car sold strong at 22 grand. Okay, a few bucks shy of $22,000. Looks like a pretty decent car. I'm not a fanboy all the way through on these cars. This is a 57,000 kilometer car, which is what, 30 some odd thousand miles on it. Had some good drive around videos with it and all that sort of stuff. But I think it did very well.
I'm surprised it did this well, considering it wasn't the top.
Yep.
These were kitchen sink cars, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, they had every bit of doodah you could think of: double overhead cams, twin turbos, four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, electron, blah 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 blah. And this car doesn't have all of that stuff. Maybe that people thought it was better because it was simpler, but that's why I was a little surprised it didn't. It went so strong. $22,000 is big money for something like this, isn't it?
It's got a good background too. Yeah, it is. It was a one-owner Canadian delivery vehicle, purchased and still owned by a retired Stellantis Canada executive. Now, he was not a Stellantis executive when he retired, or when he owned this car. He's a Chrysler executive, right? Or one of the iterations of Chrysler. So Daimler Chrysler may be executive when he owned this. So
Right.
anyhow, one owner car, the one you want to buy, and I think it brought the money it should have brought.
Do you think, this is a twin to the Mitsubishi 3000? So it's the same car. One's badged a Dodge, one's badged a Mitsubishi. Does the value typically change depending on the manufacturer in
Oh,
front of the? Oh, it
absolutely.
does.
Absolutely. And you'll find that throughout brands. I mean, you have, everything from almost identical Camaro and Firebird. The Firebird usually brings less. A Mustang and a Cougar. The Cougar usually brings less, even though it's more expensive when new.
Oh,
I don't make these rules up, and I think they're silly, but I think the Mitsu's going to bring more than a Dodge. When somebody's shopping, when they go looking, they're probably going to start with Mitsu, and then if they didn't know already, they discovered it's a Dodge. But it's kind of cooler, maybe, for some people to have a Mitsu than a Dodge.
I tell you what, I love when you're just like you're not like hedging. You're just like, yes, absolutely. Some brands are worth more than others. Dodge worth more than Mitsubishi, though.
No,
Ooh.
Mitsubishi worth more than Dodge.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in this
Surprise.
car, yeah.
Well, Dave, thanks for bringing all those cars up to our attention. They're super interesting, and I'm totally with you. There's so many interesting and fun cars out there for not a lot of money. So especially now in the fall, typically the fall is a good time to buy because the season's over, right? The car
Right.
has to be in storage a lot of times. So are you sensing some of that out there? Like there are some good deals to be had?
Well, I think this is probably the best year in three to look for deals. The pandemic year, when we had all that, cars got very expensive. They didn't come down in price until, let's say, start of the summertime in 2023. So I think there's some great bargains out there. I think a lot of people are Good, yeah, being a little bit more realistic about some of the cars they bought during the pandemic, or some of the cars that they just have out there as extra cars. It's time for people to get rid of them, and it's makes for a good time to buy.
Can,
So I'm going to call this buying season. We're not going to call it autumn anymore. We're going to call it buying season. How's that?
can we use that headline? Best time to buy in 3 years.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
I missed one that you highlighted. That's another really screaming bargain that I actually think is going to be a huge investment. And that's also on the Hagerty marketplace. It's an 8,000 mile 2004 Chevy Monte Carlo supercharged SS Intimidator version. It sold for just under $11,000.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable deal, right?
Yeah, no, this thing was the smoking deal of the week.
Yeah.
I I don't have any room for it. It's a Monte Carlo that was made honoring
Earnhardt.
NASCAR legends. This one, Dale Senior, supercharged SS Monte Carlo, and this thing brings 11 grand. What the hell are they thinking? This is great. This is
Well,
a great buy. I'm sorry I missed it. I don't have room for it, but I'm sorry I missed it anyway.
yeah, because anything Earnhardt is just going to be gold, right? He's our Elvis.
Earnhardt? You mean Dale,
Dale.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Of course.
Well, I mean,
Is there another one?
yeah,
No, there isn't. There's only
Dale
one.
or Dale Jr. You don't need a last name with Dale. Come on.
Did it hurt that the platform this is on is a very, not a very sporting platform. It's front wheel drive. It's automatic. It's not a V8. It does hurt it a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But did I tell you this was an 8,000-mile car?
Yeah.
I mean, if we took it in the Wayback Machine, it would still be under warranty, right? I mean, because it's not a magic 36,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it had look for 11 grand. You can't beat it. You
No.
just beat it. So.
All right, everybody, get out there shopping. We're gonna now switch gears to our kicking tires. These are stuff that's for sale now. What we've just highlighted, as Dave said, this is buying season. So there's a lot of bargains to be had if you're watching and looking. And one that has come up is also on our bull market list. I want to say 3 years ago, is a 92 Buick Roadmaster estate wagon. It's on the Hagerty marketplace right now. The high bid is only $3,000. Tell us why you put this on there.
It's a road monster. Come on. I mean, what could be better? It even has the name. It is the master of the road. And it's a wagon. Look, you can fit sheets of plywood in the back of this thing and close the tailgate after you leave, the big box store. So it's got all kinds of value and use. So I'm using that again. Plus, it's the coolest thing in the world. Plus, it has the extra tacky wood paneling all the way, or faux wood paneling, obviously, all the way around. It is a thing. It's a creature from another planet in today's world. And at $3,000, come on, guys, somebody go bid $3,500, $4,500. You know what this thing is in the price guide? Now, this is not a number one. It's probably, four-ish. A 4 is $7,300 in the price guide.
This could be a deal.
$35K. Come on, buy this.
Yeah, so we had on the bull market list in 2019.
Yeah,
and we said this was going to be an appreciating car or stay flat, not really going to depreciate. At this money, you're good all day long. This is here in Michigan. It has the third row seating that folds down. Mm-hmm. It has the 350 V8, 5.7 liter V8. And this is the era when GM's maybe trim and interior wasn't the best, but mechanically, these cars are super reliable. Yeah, so there's not a lot of risk in this one. That would be my hunch. What do you think?
Well, you hear people who have like a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old kid, and they say, "Well, I need something that I can haul the team around." You can haul the team around, the coaches, and put all the equipment on the roof and tie it down. I mean, this thing's got as much inside of it as a Suburban. Any Suburban does, probably, in terms of cubic meters of space. And it's almost free. Okay, it's got 150,000 miles. That's nothing for these big American tanks.
Yeah, but it is. I've got some buddies. I should just buy this thing actually because
I think it's in Michigan. It's in Rochester.
It's Rochester Hills. Yeah, I've got
look at, and that's a classy address, right? So the guy's probably taking care of it, right?
Totally, that's right near Auburn Hills where Chrysler is headquartered. But I went cross country with 3 other guys in a Jeep Cherokee. and that thing was like the sardine can.
Right.
And there's talk. Everybody wants to redo the trip now that our kids are grown, and this would be the car. So I'm going to be watching this one.
Each of you gets a row of seating. How's that? I mean, you can't beat it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, totally cool. Why don't you take us through the next one that's caught our eye?
On the MB market, we've got a Mercedes-Benz that's currently up for 11,500. It's an E320 wagon with 44,000. Now, okay, when was the last time you saw one of these with under 100,000 miles
Yeah.
on it? It's a 94 with 44,000 miles. So our mileage queens, we need you all to get out there and take a look at this. 11,500 right now, ends in 7 days from right now. So that's next Wednesday, the 27th.
Oh,
So
boy.
hopefully you're hearing it now. You're looking at it. Go take a look at this on the MB market. I love the car. Clean California history, black. I mean, what's wrong with this? So it's
I'm
great.
getting twitchy mouse fingers with this
Oh,
car.
wait a minute. Black with gray. I'm sorry. The MB text, which you want in one of these. So you definitely want MB text. You don't want leather.
This is like the best era for Mercedes design. That this era, I think Walter de Silva was a designer. It's like
I would say the pre-war Mercedes SSK might beat this, but yeah, okay, contemporary era.
okay, but this is like the last of the Mercedes that really had that solid feel. They were overbuilt. They
Yep.
were too expensive. This is one of the cars you always hear like probably bankrupted the company because they were so expensive to make. But this is when Mercedes was, really trying to be that standard of the world. And the thing with these cars, I've loved the shape. I've gone to drive a couple of them to buy, not the wagon version, but a sedan. And I think the thing people need to know is while they look like a German sporting sedan, they are not. These are comfortable cruisers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't damn it without any sportiness at all because it's got a little road feel to it and it's not bad, but it's a wagon. We got two wagons in a row here. We got the Americans and what they did in '92, and the Germans and what they did in '94. Oh
Right.
my goodness, there's a difference between these two cars. Oh my goodness! But at 11.5, it's free. So go ahead and buy it.
This
Okay,
is the one to have. Yeah. The only downside of this is that you're only going to devalue it by using it, right? So you have to get it so cheap you don't care.
Well, I mean, somebody like you with all the money in the world, what do you care? Just put another 100 grand on it. You'll sell it for pennies on the dollar.
That's true.
Whatever.
I could just eat
No,
that.
but I wouldn't say I'd use this as my daily. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But what a neat car to have. I mean, even now when you pull up in this people who are car people are going to notice. But 10 years from now, everybody's going to notice when you're driving this thing because it's got such the coolness factor. I'm going to try and not say long roof, but yeah, I'm just going to have to say it. It's a long roof, which they don't have any more of, or very, very few are being made. So it's got all that stuff going for it.
Totally cool. Okay, the next car is something a little more my speed. This is not an auction. It's on the Hagerty marketplace, which also has just straight up listings. This is a really neat car. It's a 61 Austin Healey, or I guess it's a Bugeye Sprite.
Yeah.
And this was converted into a Sports Car Club of America race car, and it raced in a class called H Production or HP. And according to the seller, it actually was a national championship car. So quite a good bit of history here. What do you like about this thing?
Well, what I really like is this thing has just been redone. It's only had 3 weekend use since a ground up restoration in 2020. So here you have for $39,500 a pittance when it comes to going racing, as anybody who's ever been racing knows. It's like you have to give up all of your drug addictions and everything else when you go racing and cancel every subscription you have. You won't be watching Netflix, so go ahead and cancel it when you buy a race car. I just think for the kind of money represented here for under 40 grand, it's point and shoot, ready to go racer. These Bugeye Sprites, you brought up Colin Comer, his wife Kinney, has been killing it in a Bugeye Sprite, racing, mostly in Midwestern tracks. They're capital F fun to drive. And this thing's been, not only was a competitive car beforehand, and a winning car, but it's got the ability to do it again because it's been restored. It's beautiful. I mean,
Yeah, it looks like whoever restored it really did it with a lot of care, and they really loved it. And what an interesting piece of history from the early days of the Sports Car Club of America, where they really leaned on these light and plentiful British roadsters so that people could go racing on the track, which is kind of what this thing was. And so there's a big, big community of folks who know how to keep these things running.
yeah, and I think one of us, not you, not me this time, but one of us has got to grab this thing for $39,500. It's buying season. Did I tell you that? Did
Yeah.
I say it's also the best time to buy a car in the last 3 years? So both of those things have come together now, and it's time for somebody to go out and buy this thing because it's just it's not an auction. It's available for sale. It's right here in Sterling, Virginia. Drive it by my office when you're done and show it to me. And you don't want to have license plates on it or anything like that. So I'll know you're outside when you rev it up in front of my office.
Yeah, I mean, these were really inexpensive roadsters back in the day, right? They had tiny little
throwaway. They were
right.
so cheap. Yeah.
They're not even 1-liter motors, and big community. Austin Healey's a great name. Bugeye Sprite with that kind of styling, a lot of fun. But let's switch gears and go into the modern era. I've been sort of watching these cars, Dave. You pointed out this 2004 Mazda RX-8 that's on the Hagerty auction site. So if you go to Hagerty.com and just click on the marketplace, you'll find it. It's an RX-8 that looks to be just about in perfect condition. This Mazda, these were the last of the rotary-powered cars. This is an engine that doesn't use pistons to make power. These were an attempt to broaden the appeal of the RX-7. So they made an RX-8. It had rear seats and sort of half doors. And they just never caught on. But they're such cool cars, don't you think?
Yeah, this one's modified, and it's got a lot of fun stuff, in terms of performance tricks that have been done to it. But it's still a very, very nice looking car at $8,181 right now, 41,488 miles. I think these cars have a lot of room. This car, I think, was owned by a person who was, I might be wrong about this. I looked at a whole bunch of Mazdas the other day. No, I was wrong about that. I was thinking this was owned by a guy who had a Mazda tuning business. I don't think this is the one. But come on. It was, I'm going to take that back. It was owned by the owner of Mazcare in Georgia. And so he did some of the modifications. So a car that, instead of just a guy throwing every package on it that he could, that he could buy, I think this is a little bit different than that. This is a guy who probably tested and approved everything before he put it on it. Black, great looking car. I think RX-8s have a lot of room to go. And at 81, come on, it's still free.
I mean, I remember driving these cars back in the day. The chassis is like, it's almost one of the best road car chassis you could drive. Really supple, very connected. You get a fantastic road feel. They have these the little, it's almost like a triangle that is the shape of the rotor that spins to make the power. That is the shape of the shifter. And it's like a Miata style gearbox or an S2000, really nice thing to shift. So, when Mazda sets their mind to it, they can make a really fantastic driver's car. The thing that people, I think, didn't like about this car was compared to its predecessor called the FD-RX-7, this didn't have turbos and it was a lot slower. However, as 238 horsepower is enough, it revs to 9,000. And on the road, how much do you need? I mean, you're buzzing this thing all over the place with its own fun, and you're not breaking the speed limit.
Yeah, well, you certainly can, but no, there's so much to be said for the RX-8. I think the styling is off-putting to some people, certainly not to me. And the RX-7 has proven that Mazdas are collectible cars because every generation of the RX-7 is collectible. So I think we can probably see that in the future, even more so with the not more so than the RX-7, but continuing the theme with the RX-8.
I've had 3 RX-7s, and my son and I have been looking at these RX-8s because they are cheap, they are fun. The thing that I haven't really worked out is, and this has probably been addressed, but I remember when they were new, and this was when Mazda and Ford were tied up, so a lot of people here in the Motor City that worked at Ford got RX-8s. Mm-hmm. And the story was, especially on cooler mornings, if the car started but then stalled before it warmed up, you were calling the dealer to come get it. You were never going to start it again. So there was some unfortunate reliability issues with that motor. But I'm sure that's been addressed.
I had a bunch of earlier Mazdas. I had RX-2, RX-3, and then, like I said, I had 2 of those rotary pickup trucks, and I never really had any drivability problem at all. As a matter of fact, I was a college student when I had my rotary pickup, so that I had to cut corners in terms of if anything was going to break, but I never had anything break on it. I was the first owner of it. I bought the car new.
Damn.
It was a leftover. It was like a 72. No, it was a 73 that I bought in 75. They couldn't sell them back then. So, I don't even tell you what I paid for it. It was so cheap.
I mean, nobody wants to, worry about going to the local mechanic and they can't fix it. Like, what is this thing? So, thanks to the internet and forum, there's a big community of RX-8 owners. So this thing's largely figured out, but it does. I mean, it's a great ending to this whole episode, Dave, where, we've just illustrated how much fun and interesting cars can be had for a lot less than a new car. The average price of a new car is $48,000.
I got one for you. We just talked about a whole boatload of cars.
Yeah.
The entire value of everything we talked about didn't even approach $1 million. So, I mean, we avoided the talking about $1 million cars, but you could buy every car that we talked about for $1 million and probably have enough to pay for a new garage to put them in.
Well, listen, Dave, I didn't even thought about 7 figures, but I know how Big Papa rolls. That's just a dime to you. So that's always your relative thing. So that's nice to know. But yeah, I agree. Lots of great bargains out there. We're going to wrap this up. It's been super fun talking about it. Like I said, I got an itchy finger to bid on some of these things. Any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, it's definitely time to be a keyboard warrior. That rainy day coming up, whatever. It's time to go look at cars that are available to sell or for you to buy. I'm going to double down, triple down, quadruple down on the fact that if you're looking, now's the time to press the button. Probably now till the end of the year. Maybe you've got all the springtime to do it too. But every day you get closer to spring, convertibles are worth more and they sell faster.
Totally. Okay, I'm going to add, thank you for listening. Please rate us and share us, whatever podcast platform you're watching. It really helps people find it. Definitely check out Hagerty Media and at Hagerty.com and also on our YouTube channel. And if you'd like to support us, consider joining the Drivers Club, and that's also at Hagerty.com. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on Hagerty's No Reserve.
Thank you.